Hello everybody and welcome back to this tutorial. And right now what we are going to do is we're going to take a look at overriding methods in the class. So basically what it means is that you can always override your parent class methods. The one reason for overriding parents methods is that you may want special or different functionality in your subclass. Now basically in order to override the parents class method, you need to simply call it the same as in the parent class. So the name of the method needs to be named the same as it was in the parent class. So I will show you right here. Open up your idle. If you just go right here and basically define a parent class to be equal, parent, which is going to define a parent class. And right here we have defined my method. Let's keep these actual lower letters. So my method takes the self argument as always, and right here it will print calling parent method. Okay, so this is our entire class, parent class. Basically what we want to do right now is define a child class, which is going to inherit its parent's method. So child, and in between the brackets parent. This is nothing really new to us. We saw this in the previous video. So right here, all we're left to do is name the actual method with the same name that we actually named it in the parent class. So right here, it will take the self argument and it will print calling child method. Okay, so simple as that. Right here we have the actual two same classes. Basically they perform the same task. They simply just print a statement, as we can see right here. This one prints calling parent method and this one prints calling child method, which basically this one inherited it from this one. So it basically has two methods that are my method. But if you simply just define the instance of the child class and call the my method, you will notice that the actual statement that it prints out will be calling child method. So that is how you can actually override the actual method from the parent class. Okay? So instead of actually overriding the methods in the classes, you can also overload operators. Now basically what that means is, let's say there is a good example. Suppose you have created a vector class to represent two-dimensional vectors. Now, what happens when you use the plus sign to actually add those two vectors? Well, Python will actually give you an error because it can't really do that. But you can, however, define the add method in your class to perform vector addition, and then the plus operator would behave as per expectation. So basically it means if you create the add method to your class, which will be specified a certain type of adding two vectors, or doesn't have to be vectors at all. Maybe you want to specify the add class, which is going to add a little bit differently than simply just specifying the addition sign, which is a plus sign. So 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. But let's say you want 4 plus 4 for some reason to be equal to 10. You can simply just add the actual formula to the add method in your class, and it will perform the addition differently once you specify 4 plus 4 next time. So let us see how we can do that with simply vectors. So if you just define class vector right here, whoops, let me just go right here. So class vector, we add the init function in it, and it will take the self argument as well as the vector A and vector B. Okay, so it takes three arguments, which one of them is the self argument. So right now all we're left to do is type self.a equals A and self.b equals B. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to create a string function or str function, which is going to take the self argument and it is going to return the values of those two vectors. So right here, if we just type here define str, takes the self argument right here, and it will simply just return, open single quotes, vector, and we know that this is going to be the actual integer value, so therefore we specify %d, comma %d, and then we add the percentage of self.a and self.b, which basically means that we actually return these values of these two vectors that we defined right here. Okay, so simple as that. Right now, what we are going to do in the next function is we are going to perform the addition of these two vectors, and how we're going to do that is we're simply going to type it like this: define add function, which is going to take the arguments of self and then other, as you will see in just a case. Let me just show you right here. Self and other, add the two dots, and we are going to return from here the vector, which is the name of our actual class itself, and then we're going to simply just type self.a plus self, or pardon me, plus other.a, and then comma self.b plus other.b. So this is going to be simply our formula. We press here enter, and this is our entire class. And you will see if you just define the vector 1, for example, to be equal to the vector of, and specify the values of 2 and 10. We defined these a and b variables right now with the specified things right here. And in order to actually add vectors, you need to specify the second vector as well. So right here, v2 equals vector 5 and -2. And now if you just print v1 plus v2, you will see that we get the vector 7 and 8. So basically we went to this statement right here, and it printed out the values of this vector. So the a, which is the 7, and the b, which is 8. So basically we added these two vectors, 2 plus 5, 7, 10 plus -2 is 8. So therefore our vector is the result of 7 and 8, which is performed in this action right here. As you can see, self a plus other.a, which stands for the second vector, and self b plus other.b. Okay, so basically that would be about it for the overloading operators, and also for the inheritance class and overriding methods from the inherited class. And we will continue coding in the next lecture. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!